Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. It's Friday, it's almost the weekend, it's almost the return of Newcastle United. We're back in action again tomorrow as we take on Arsenal at St James's Park. 5:30 kick-off, I will be there. I'll have all the usual pre-match chat, post-match chat, instant reactions, vlogs. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so and look out for those videos tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be celebrating again. To be honest, I'm still riding the high from Wednesday night. The 3-0 against Manchester United was definitely up there with one of the, I was going to say away games, one of the best Newcastle games I've ever been to. 7,000 away fans, 7,000 Geordies packed into Old Trafford. We've got Dummett and Kraft at the back playing like prime Ramos and whoever else. I mean, it was incredible. Livramento, Howe, stand up, take a bow. Joe Willet, brilliant. And as I say, as great as that was, and as happy as I still am from that game, we do need to get our heads switched on, because it's Arsenal tomorrow, then it's Dortmund midweek. I'm going to that as well, so look out for that on the channel. And then we've got Bournemouth the following weekend, and then we get into another international break. So let's try and ride this high all the way through till the next international break. And Eddie Howe has been on talking about tomorrow's game, so we'll get into a bit of news from Eddie Howe, but we've been blessed today. Normally it's the Eddie Howe interview we talk about in these Friday videos, but we have not just one interview from Newcastle United, we have two, because Dan Ashworth also gave an interview today talking about Sandro Tali, talking about the January window, talking about transfers, and talking about potential signings that we could look at and the possibility of looking to the Saudi League. So we will get into all of that in this video, starting off with what Eddie Howe had to say in his press conference this morning. He spoke about injury news. To be honest, that was one of the main things he spoke about, as well as I mentioned, the fantastic game on Wednesday night. He gave praise to a lot of players. He gave praise to the crowd. I loved it at the end of the game where Eddie brought the players over to the away fans and they applauded back. It just shows that a little bit of love between the players, the manager and the fans as well. There was a bit where the fans were kind of taking it in turns to shout different chants. One of them was Tino, Tino, and I think it was Miggy or someone pushed Tino Livramento out to the front. He came forward, gave a little bit of a clap to the fans. I absolutely loved it. And as I say, Eddie Howe this morning was very complimentary of the fans as well as certain players. He gave a big up to Joe Willet, which I thought definitely deserved it. He played really, really well in the game. It just shows, you know, at the start of the season, when we knew we'd kind of brought players in, and then with some of the injuries kind of cropping up, and we're going, God, we need that little bit of pace back in that midfield. Bruno's great, Joe Linton's great, Longstaff's great, Tonali's great, but none of them quite have that explosive power that Joe Willet can bring, and we saw that in the game against Manchester United. Joe Linton did his job. He was the battering ram. He knocked everybody over. Also had some great play out as well, by the way. Don't knock Joe Linton on the ball, because he can be very good. But having a Willet next to him, so when he does get the ball back or he does have a good play, get him in. You know, so it was great to see some praise going out to those players. He did also talk about injuries. He spoke about the fact that Isak is not set to return until after the international break. So that is a little bit longer wait on him. He also spoke about Matt Targett as well. Obviously, he was a player who did come in for the Manchester United game, went off after about 5 minutes. In fairness, similar to what we saw, was it the Sheffield United game? I can't remember now. When Barnes went off, Gordon came on and then took the game by storm and pretty much was a big factor in why we won it. Targett went off on Wednesday, Miggy came on and scores the opening goal. Now, having said that, I would have rather we just subbed him off than had to have an injury to do it. And Eddie Howe has said it's not looking good. It's hamstring and it could be a long one, which is not great at all. Going into the Arsenal game tomorrow, I imagine we will rotate back to more like what it looked like against Wolves. Having said that, is that fair? Do you change your winning side? Should it be Dummett and Crafty at the back again? I mean, they played really well. I think they were played against a Manchester United side who were not good. So I would expect to see players come back in. But I would definitely say it really has put something forward to say, hang on, You know, some of these guys who are sitting there not getting involved. We're playing against the Wolves team and we'll look tired. You know, mix and match. Not an A team and a B team, a together team. You know, a mixed side is what I learned. Hopefully Eddie Howe did the same. Now then, as for, and he also spoke about Sandro Tali, but so did Dan Ashworth, as well as on a handful of other things. Starting off with Sandro Tali, he said that Tali has started doing some individual training. He is basically being given the go-ahead to train with Newcastle over the 10 months for the 10 ban, which is good news. Dan Ashworth went on to say in his interview that they were going to have to look into exactly what Tali can and can't do. He can play in certain friendlies. What can and can't he be involved in? So although it isn't good, 10 months out of the game isn't good, at least we can still train him up and hopefully have him Eddie Howe fit, Eddie Howe ready, train him with the side for when he does come back. He actually did go into a little bit more detail on the Sandro Tali situation, on the fact that, in quotation, or allegedly, Tali did breach his contract in terms of, and I spoke about this myself when I said that when Tali signed that deal, yes, he signed the deal, it said, I want all the money, but I'm sure he also signed the deal, it said, I've done no wrongdoing, I've done nothing that will go against this contract, and obviously not disclosing the fact that, you know, illegal behind closed doors sports betting is presumably a breach from what that is. So it sounds like that's something that they are looking at. And Dan Ashworth even said that they are looking at an internal investigation at St James's Park as to exactly what has gone on here. Going as far to say that had they have known this situation, he said that nothing, and I am paraphrasing here, nothing to knock the talent of Tali. That is not in question whatsoever, but did say along the lines of, you know, had they known this, really, would that have changed their minds on going ahead? And I would imagine the answer is yes. Dan Ashworth went as far to say that if you look anywhere, he said to look at himself, the fact that it was something that he didn't spot. You do all of these different checks and prides himself on the due diligence that he does around this. He said after 16 years in the business on transfers, this is the first time it's ever happened. So I think he's disappointed. I've no doubt the club's disappointed. I think everyone's disappointed. I'm disappointed. You're disappointed. Tonali's disappointed that it's all worked out this way. And as I say, for a £55 million player, Newcastle want to make sure they investigate why it wasn't picked up and what's gone on. And despite the fact that we have spent all that money, we are now in a situation where we're a player down, we've got a whole host of injuries, and Dan Ashworth said that they would look to potentially bring funds forward that they may have looked to spend in the summer to this January instead, which I don't think surprises us, really. Dan Ashworth said that they want to be dynamic. They want to have a bit of versatility about the whole situation. They want to spend where they can spend, and they want to make sure we've always got the best team. If you think Anthony Gordon, you know, I don't think we necessarily planned to spend 40 million on him last January window, but the opportunity arose. They were very keen on the player, and they went for it. So I would not be surprised if we do see maybe money pulled forward from the summer into this. It feels like we're doing that every window, doesn't it? We always seem to find the money to spend. There's a lot of chat on FFP, but as we saw in the summer window, we were able to go and spend £70 million on fullbacks. So yes, we can find the money when we need it, and it sounds like we could well do it this January as well. And Dan Ashworth was also probed around the idea of trading or buying and selling players from Saudi Arabia as well. If you think the Maxi situation is almost the reverse, Newcastle were able to sell a Newcastle United player over to a Saudi Arabian team. Newcastle have been heavily linked with the likes of, well, to be fair, Ronaldo was one of the first people we were linked with, but Ruben Neves seems to be a player that's cropping up an awful lot at the moment. I think down to the fact that we're looking for midfielders. He's moved from a Premier League to Saudi Arabia. There's even reports in the media that he would love a chance to move to Newcastle United. And Dan Ashworth said that there is currently no rules or regulations to stop a move like it. I think the big word there was currently, and I think there are stuff kind of going on in the background that they are looking into this, and you have to say that there's no doubt everybody would moan about it. So, you know what I want to see? That £1 cheque come out in a photo as Newcastle agree the £1 loan fee for Ruben Neves to join until the end of the season from January. So, yeah, am I his biggest fan? Is it a player that I'm hugely interested in? Yeah, he's a good player. And if you can get him for a quid or even on the loan, it suits me. I think that's the next big thing, because we do have a £55 million player that'll be sat on the bench for the next 10 months. I think we do need to look somewhere. We do need to look at replacements somewhere. And Dan Ashworth sounds very much like the club are in a position to spend money, and they are not ruling out the option of players from the Saudi League should they become available. So you let me know your thoughts on that down below. The fact that Newcastle are having an internal inquest over the Tonali situation. The fact that Newcastle could well bring funds forward this January to strengthen the squad as quickly as possible. And what do you think about Ruben Neves? Is that a player that you're even, fair enough, he's could be a loan? Is it a player that you're interested in? Or is that just because it's kind of, I guess, the controversy of it is possibly bigging it up more than maybe Newcastle are even interested in? Newcastle could look at him and go, well, fair enough, but we're not bothered. Having said that, if it's a Premier League proven player on a loan deal without a fee or whatever, I suppose it's got to be for a fair fee or a fair price. What is the fair loan price of another player? I'm not even sure what that is. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that down below. Loads of content coming this weekend for the Arsenal game and Dortmund, so don't miss out. Subscribe. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your Friday night, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.